Hey,
Hey,
look at
Ed.
that. It's like ending with the number 4 hitter, ending the show right here. Sorry, dear. I didn't mean to make you the number 3 hitter, but Tom, what brings you to the show?
I think coming down to listen firsthand to Jay Light was, then I got to visit with him a little bit before the show, but that was kind of the impetus for walking down today.
Awesome.
It's usually spontaneous whenever I see you.
Right. Well, I understand you did some yoga last weekend too, right? How was that?
I did some yoga watching.
Oh, okay. I want to ask about the yoga watching.
I didn't jump into the pack, but yeah, we had a big yoga group at the house Bayside last Saturday. It was fun.
Nice.
Yeah,
so
they just had a great time.
Any update on the project?
It's just still a waiting game, and we think that the first case, the zoning procedural case, we'll probably hear sometime April, May, June from the judge. No, not April. Yeah, March, April, May, I would say. Probably May at the latest. And then the civil case on properly conforming with the comp plan, land development code, that'll probably be a trial sometime this summer, July, something like that. So it's just a waiting game.
Rough idea when the first shovel goes in the ground?
I think the year end this year. I'd say
Nice.
year end 19 that we're shoveling the ground.
Nice. So I didn't know that people didn't like when you had a plan for affordable housing. That was something I just learned this week.
Yes, I haven't heard that either.
So your plan, part of the plan is to build affordable housing off the island for employees, right?
Yes, it is. I haven't heard any pushback on it.
Well, I think that was part of the editorial that was discussed. So.
Oh, okay. I guess I don't read everything.
Right. Good thing, right?
Yeah, it's probably a good thing. It's
And the
probably,
other
good,
thing-
probably
the
a good thing for my marriage, too.
The other thing was, what's going on with the? There's something that I saw that Joanne brought up at the council meeting this week about the end of the bridge here and possibly changing how this traffic pattern works. You know anything about that?
You know, I do. I've been brought along in the process. Been in face-to-face meetings and brought along in the process because we're not only an affected property owner adjoining the intersection at the base of Matanzas Bridge, we have property that can contribute to vast improvements in that intersection, traffic flow, pedestrian flow, safety, and so on. So we've been a part of the process, and yes, we're excited.
How would it work? I mean, how would it be different?
It's you got to really put it up on the screen, but
Okay.
probably not now. It maybe looks a little complicated, but it's actually very intuitive. I think the county really listened, really put a terribly thoughtful exercise together in coming up with this proposal, and I feel that they've got the ability to perform financially and otherwise. I should probably keep my mouth shut, but I won't. Last summer, when the county was really at a point of really understanding the timing that it's either now or never, the Estero Road project really is planned out to the end of the south end of the island.
Mm-hmm.
And the only stretch that really isn't engineered and figured out is right here at the base of the bridge. And if they keep the project going and extend it to include the base of this bridge, it can go under the funding that's in place currently, and it can happen in the very near term. And so it's either now or never, and the county called a meeting with the affected property owners, which included the county, the town, and us. And Tracy Gore was a designee that the town brought to the meeting. I was a designee that TPI brought to the meeting, and the leaders of the county were there. The upper echelons of the staff, Larry Kiker was there, and it was an open slate discussion. This would date back to last summer, just an open slate. Can we work together? What are our goals? What are thoughts? What are ideas? And I got to tell you, and this is going to get into the campaign that's going to launch here the end of next week for the March election, the town council. But Tracy just attacked everybody in that room, humiliated, said she didn't want any part of these meetings going forward, and just it was appalling. It was embarrassing. It was appalling, the behavior, and she just shut down any possibility of the town's cooperation in resolving some improvement of any measurable degree here at the base of the bridge. So that ended the meeting. And
really, what now? Did she explain why she didn't want to be part of it?
Absolutely not. No, nor were her attacks founded or substantiated. She just went on a rage. And fortunately, the council changed their designee for the town on the Estero Boulevard to Joanne Champ. And wow, what a difference a leader can make. A change of leadership, and we've got something in front of us that is not only exceptional in design, but it's something that can be funded. It's something that can happen in the near term. And I just feel that this election is just critical for this town. There's 2 seats that are up, Dennis Bovak, Tracy Gore, and in spite of their weak leaderships that's different for each one, the town has been moving forward. Contrary to, some of the things you read, it's not because of Tracy Gore. It's in spite of Tracy Gore. And I'll be out stomping for the 3 fantastic candidates that have put themselves forward to date. I'm not intimidated by Tracy or Dennis. And I wish others weren't. I wish others would come forward and share their experiences and share how they've been bullied and just share their experiences on what it's been like under this Gestapo kind of government that Tracy and Dennis impose on us. So there's Ray Murphy, there's Dan Ehlers, there's Rexanne Hossafras. All 3 have the fabric that would make this community proud, and any 2 of them would be just marvelous leaders to carry this town forward. I know this is very unusual for a business person to speak out so forcefully against Tracy and Dennis. I have no doubt that their egos will get in the way, and they will launch their announcement to run for re-election. I'm absolutely convinced of that. So prepare for it and support Dan, Rexanne, Ray. Everybody get out to vote. This is the most critical election this island has seen ever since incorporation. And we're on the verge of greatness. We really are. We're on the verge of greatness, or we can continue under this intimidating, bullying, disrespectful form of government that we're all embarrassed about. We're just embarrassed. So how's that for you?
Hey,
did I speak my piece?
Yeah. So I'm at a loss for words. I'm at a loss for words, and that hardly ever. I think that was like the 3rd time in my life that's happened. But when you're on a roll, you're on a roll. So what I was talking about before, Tom, was to Jay, as I regained my own composure here, was that.
Well, there's 2 800-pound elephants in the room, and let's just get it on the table. Well, I'm all about being, diplomatic and respectful and honorable in process. But when there's 2 800-pound elephants in the room, and people are not willing to step forward and ignore their existence, somebody's got to say something. And I've been in the rooms. I've been in these meetings. I've seen the behavior. I've seen how they shut out a cooperative effort with the state, with the county and other jurisdictions. I see how counterproductive it is and how it's hurting our community. I'm in the room. I'm in these meetings. I see it. And so I can directly speak to it. It's not a fabrication of my imagination. It's a true experience, and it's gone on too long, and it's time for change. And this March election is critical.
So there's a couple of things coming up as far as the election goes. There's the February 11th is a candidates night forum that the Women's Club is hosting that we're going to be moderating. It's also important for people to know. I was mentioning this to Jay, Tom, that people not only need to get out and vote, they need to be part of the election. They need to work for the candidates, and they need to realize that if they come up with one candidate only, that their side of the aisle is going to vote one candidate. They're not going to go one and then Dan. They're not going to go one and then Rexanne or one and Ray. They're going to vote one, and they're going to try and overpower, because we're voting for 2 of 3. So there could be a dilution of things that way, and that would suck. What we need to do is get 2 out of these 3 in to make sure that those 2, one of those 2 don't ever, or somebody else they pick, a paper candidate that they don't get in.
And I think the character and the fabric of these three candidates, Dan and Rexanne and Ray, are as such that if in fact, as I really believe will happen, that Tracy and Dennis will announce here at the last minute and have their platform and their campaigns and their propaganda all lined up, that the fabric of the other three candidates is such that I really believe that they will put the community first and somehow figure out together what the best approach is to ensure that those two don't get reelected. I believe in them. I believe that they will do what's best in our community and make sure that Dennis and Tracy do not get reelected.
Tom, do you think if somebody runs, one of those two run, that one of the three candidates on our side drops out?
I think that's for them to decide, but their character is so stupendous and their love for this town.
Yeah.
It's really hard. It's really hard to do that. But let's see what the final slate is. It's hard to predict, but let's see what the final slate is. They're very logical people. You know, gosh, I'm speaking of characteristics and skills that why wouldn't you want people like this representing on the town council? And any two of those would be so complimentary to Joanne and Anita and Butcher that the power of the five would be unbelievable. They don't all think alike by any means. I don't agree with everything Rexanne says, Dan says, or Ray says, but I can take I can take whatever I disagree with the overwhelming amount of what I agree with and support them. But the power of those five, any two of the three candidates that I'm speaking of, and the three that are in place, would provide just unbelievable leadership for this community, quantum leap type of impact. Would fall in love with each other again. You'd greet each other on the street. The weight of the negativism would vanish overnight if those two are not reelected. And I assure you of that outcome.
And the three that you mentioned are not disrespectful. Anita and Butcher and Joanne, I've never seen them disrespectful at a council meeting like I have.
Ever. I don't think you could go back over the last number of years of council videos and find anything stated disrespectfully by any of those three people. I agree.
So we're going to do yoga tomorrow?
I'm ready to do it right now.
All right. Tom Torgeson, everybody. Thanks so much for coming on, Tom. That was awesome. Appreciate. Tom's like a drop-in guest here. He just drops in, and it's like an open invitation for Tom.
Wow. You guys were rocking and rolling.
That's going to be some